You cannot arrest without...
That is investigations within IDEC itself.
That is what has to happen. You cannot arrest without doing investigations. You cannot arrest without coming to a decision that we've done so much work, we are ready, or we still have shortages here and here. So the team must meet and...
But we have enough to arrest.
We have enough to arrest.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, the way you frame it in this, in these two sentences, it appears you are not aware at all that there were any investigations, and not just investigations that ought to have led to the arrests you heard about this morning.
Yes. Chair, what I'm stating there, indeed, is I was not aware, but it's because this case was not in my group. I get to the office, and the office is buzzing with people talking.
You're sinking. You feel the pressure, the unknown. It's closing in. You try to stay strong, but the worries of the future feel like they're pulling you under. Life seems chaotic and out of control. In the storms of life, where do you turn? In times of uncertainty, there is one that will carry you through. He is an anchor of hope and peace. That anchor is Jesus, God's Son, who died on the cross for you. He took our burdens upon himself, then rose from the dead to offer eternal life to anyone who asks for forgiveness and trusts in him. When things feel unstable, you don't have to drift through the unknown alone. Let Jesus be the anchor that holds you steady. Click to connect with an online volunteer to learn more about starting a relationship with Jesus.
Unusual, since every matter is headed by a DPPP as its project owner.
Advocate Sereni, before you move away, was it out of concern at that point, or was it interest? And if it's concern, why were you concerned at that point?
It was more out of interest. Everybody's talking about this case. Generals in the police arrested, and naturally, as a leader myself in the structure, that draws me to a point of wanting to know which cases, who are handling this case, which cases, and that is what then leads me to paragraph 3, where as I'm inquiring, I'm then told that Advocate Joy Tlatswayo, who was one of our junior state advocates, and who was at the time reporting to me, or reporting to my group, and who, without belittling her or anything, she was amongst the most junior in the office. I'm told she's the one who's handling this case. I established that she was appearing...
Can I just, before we forget it, from your description or allocation of the 4 streams and the DDPPs that you allocated there, it seems that Advocate Paul Lowe would have been the DDPP responsible for this stream, because I think you said intelligence. He was responsible for that.
Indeed, Commissioner. If things were done in accordance with the manual, yes. Advocate Lowe ought to have been the project owner, the DDPP in the case. But if I remember well, he was also there in the office that morning, and that is why he didn't appear to know anything about this case as well. And that is what was strange.
Yeah, another kink, as it were, would have been the fact that one of your prosecutors, Advocate Tlatswayo, was the prosecutor. You told us that if someone were to be taken from a deputy by another deputy, there would be a discussion between the deputies. Obviously, from what you say here, nobody had approached you and asked that Advocate Tlatswayo be part of the prosecution in another group or team. So, as I say, so that's another kink, or that's another anomaly.
Indeed, Commissioners.
And I also see the name of Mr. Brian Padiachi. Was he not a senior investigator in your team?
Padayashi was not in my team.
He was not in your team.
Yes, I think he was in the security cluster.
Someone else's team.
Yes.
So it looks like
But it was strange that a junior prosecutor was reporting to me is allocated to this case without me having been engaged. Not that it doesn't happen, like I said, I would have expected, say, maybe Advocate Paul Lowe, if he was part of that group, to have discussed the matter with me, to say, we need a prosecutor, we're having a shortage. Do you have a lot of work for Joy? If I said, oh, then we agree, they can utilize it.
And was this the right team for, or rather, was this the right case for Mr. Padiachi? Or was he too misplaced, as it were?
He's a senior criminal investigator, Chair. I would believe he was suited to
No,
be part of this.
I'm asking in the context of the different groups. For example, Commissioner Baloyi said this was an intelligence matter which would have fallen under deputy law.
Yes.
So did Mr. Padiachi work under deputy law?
He was working under advocate law.
Oh,
so he was in the security cluster, which was headed by advocate law.
That's what I wanted
The
to
only amazing thing, Chair, is that advocate law appeared also not to know about this case because I saw him in the office that morning.
Yes.
He was not properly dressed for court, or at least that he knew about the case.
So when you inquired, what case is this and what have these generals been arrested for? He too did not respond and say this is what happened and this is why they were arrested. He appeared to be in the dark as well.
He appeared to be in the dark like I was. He did not know about the case.
Advocate Sigerunye, ordinarily who allocates matters to junior prosecutors in the IDEC? So take, for example, Advocate Hlachwayo, who ordinarily allocates matters to prosecutors at A level. Is it the ID or is it the DDPPs?
It will be me. It will be me as the DPPP in that group. I would look at the setup of the team to say, I need, say, maybe one or two juniors. Let me go for Advocate Hlachwayo and so and so.
Can Mr. Sissoko allocate a matter to
No,
a junior prosecutor?
That doesn't fall within his mandate.
Ordinarily, only a DDPP would allocate a matter to a junior prosecutor.
That is true, Commissioner.
And
Only
if it's a junior prosecutor in your team, you would be the one allocating.
Indeed. So that is so, Commissioner.
I think you were to...
And in this case, that is why I found myself asking a lot of questions because I didn't know about the case where one of my juniors is involved. And, but I understood that because we signed these non-disclosure forms, maybe that has happened and I was not involved. But it was something didn't sound right. It was a bit strange.
I think you were to start I established that she was appearing, or am I
Yes,
mistaken?
I then established that Advocate Hlachwayo was appearing in court that morning with investigating officer Mr. Brian Padayashi, and that there was no co-prosecutor with her in court, no senior state advocate, no DDPP, and no chief investigator assisting her. I was concerned that a matter of this magnitude involving the arrest of senior members of the police was being handled without such support and without a DDPP overseeing it. At that moment, I then, together with one of my fellow DDPPs, Advocate Jacinta Vetboy, and Mr. Sibusi Sochikovi, who is the chief financial investigator. These people, I'm mentioning them because they were in this group when we were inquiring and making and trying to find out who was handling this. We then decided, the three of us, to approach the head of the unit, the investigating director, Advocate Johnson, to request permission to attend court to assist Advocate Tlhatjwayo. On arriving at her office, we found that the investigating director had not yet arrived, and we left a message with her personal assistant, Ms. Innocent Sikukuni. On my way back to my office, Ms. Sikukuni telephoned me to say that she had discussed our request with the investigating director telephonically, and that the investigating director had agreed that we could attend court as requested.
Did you ask or did you find out who and how Ms. Tlhatjwayo came to be allocated? Who selected her?
Yes. I only came to know afterwards, commissioners. I asked and I was told, I asked and the information I got was that she was appointed by the ID. And I was told that initially the only prosecutor in the matter was Advocate Ramsemi, Drew Ramsemi, and that Tlhatjwayo was then also allocated, or at least designated to the matter around May, so earlier, just shortly before the arrest in this case. In paragraph 26, when we arrived, we were then given permission by the ID to go and assist in court. When we arrived at court, we found Advocate Tlhatjwayo in the company of the investigating officer, Mr. Padayashe, and evidently overwhelmed. The court was about to commence, and the J15, which is the administrative form to which the charge sheet is attached, had not been completed, there being some 7 accused involved in the matter. Advocate Vedboy obtained the necessary J15. I remember she literally rushed to the clerk of the court, brought a blank form. I then took the docket from Mr. Padayashe. I then started reading out the names of the accused as they appeared in the docket to Ms. Vedboy, who was then, to Advocate Vedboy, who was then completing the J15, which was then handed to the clerk to register the matter on the book. Our assistants enabled Advocate Tlhatjwayo to consult with the defense legal representatives. The courtroom was full of police officers, family members of the accused, and members of the press. Advocate Vedboy and Shikovi obtained seats at the back of the court. As there was nowhere else to sit, I then sat in front next to Advocate Tlhatjwayo, and Mr. Padayashe, the investigating officer, was seated directly behind us. I was not the prosecutor in the matter. My colleagues and I attended solely to support Advocate Tlhatjwayo. The proceedings commenced before the magistrate, Mr. Madlanga, whom I did not know and was seeing for the first time. Advocate Tlhatjwayo conducted the bail proceedings on behalf of the state, indicating that the state was not opposing bail and setting out the reasons. The legal representatives of the accused moved their bail applications by reading their client's supporting affidavit into the record. At various points, Advocate Tlhatjwayo experienced difficulty in answering questions from the court and conferred with me and with Mr. Padayashe, who was seated behind us. In the course of dealing with the bail application, Advocate Tlhatjwayo asked the court to impose a condition that the witnesses not be contacted or interviewed by the accused. The magistrate indicated that he required a list of the witnesses, as he could not simply warn them, and he appeared not to be satisfied with her response. The magistrate then invited me to address him, observing that I appeared to be from the same office. And maybe just to add here, Commissioners, I remember he precisely said, because they were engaging with Advocate Tlhatjwayo, and he then looked at me and he said, okay, let the gentleman seated next to you address me. He appears to be from your same office, because now and then Tlhatjwayo kept on talking to me and at the same time with Mr. Padayashe, and that is why the magistrate said, let this gentleman address me. Before doing so, I then asked Padayashe whether a bail statement or affidavit had been prepared.
What is a bail statement? What would you find in there?
Commissioners, this matter as I understood at the time, fell under Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act. And Schedule 5 and Schedule 6, these are serious matters. Schedule 5, the accused to be released on bail has to bring an application and satisfy the court that it is in the interest of justice that he be released on bail. What we do as the state, to avoid the investigating officer to testify viva voce in court, he then compiles an affidavit setting out even if the state is not opposing, the reasons why we are not opposing. For example, we would have verified the addresses of the accused. The statement will state, we've checked their criminal records. They don't have criminal records. They are not a flight risk. They are gainfully employed, and all those kind of issues, they'll come into the statement. We either do that by way of an affidavit of the statement, or the IO has to go into the box, and as a prosecutor, I'll then have to lead him to cover all those aspects.
And you say that's something that happens as a matter of course with Schedule 5?
It has to happen. I know, Commissioner, that there are instances where the state is not opposing, even when the state is not opposing bail, and the prosecutor addresses the court from the bar saying, we're not opposing bail. I know of instances where the courts would have insisted at least on some form of evidence, formal evidence from the state, at least by way of an affidavit from the IO or so. And I do not have case law with me, but I know there's a case or two where the court would have also said, even when the state is not opposing bail, but the court is sitting, the court needs to be assisted by the two parties. And even when the state is not opposing bail, but you, as an officer of the court, you have to address the court, say why you are not, give this information to the court. So if you have compiled an affidavit, it's easier for the court. You read it into the records saying these are our reasons. And when the court evaluates whether or not the accused has met the onus of proving that it's in the interest of justice that he be released on bail, the court has the benefit of both the state and the applicant's evidence. But in this case, the bail application or the statement was not done, which was one of the things that made me realize that this team did not appear to have been ready for this bail application. I would have expected them to, because when we were in court, I then asked Brian, just before addressing the magistrate, I asked him, did you compile an affidavit? Because now I could see the magistrate was going to engage me. So I wanted to speak out of an affidavit, not just give the court information which I was not privy of. But I remember asking him about the issue of the list, and then quickly he said, no, we have other outstanding investigations against some of these people. So that is why we don't want the list of these people to be known, because if we list them, that's going to impact on our outstanding cases. And that is what I then delivered to the court when the court was asking Tlatswayo, why not the list? I'm at the paragraph where the magistrate invites me to address him, and before doing so, I then asked Padayashi whether a bail statement or affidavit had been prepared. It had not. Mr. Padayashi explained that the witnesses had been told that if they were contacted by the accused, they should immediately report to him. Entities and the existence of that other investigation. This is what I delivered to the court. On that.
Sorry. So where you say in line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a sentence that starts so that there was no danger in that regard. It's preceded by where Padayachi explains to you that witnesses have been told that if they are contacted by accused, they should immediately report it to him. And then you say so that there was no danger in that regard. Can you just explain what you're addressing there?
Yeah.
where you say, so